If you've ever thought that America's bars lent nothing to our country, then the City Tavern in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania will change your mind.
This was perhaps one of the most important meeting places for our founding fathers, and it's said that the City Tavern, and not Carpenter's Hall or even Independence Hall, truly shaped our nation.
The history of City Tavern is a very unique one. It's actually a very spectacular one if you come right down to it. It was initially conceptually organized by 53 businessmen. Around 1770, they decided that Philadelphia needed something of opulence, vis-a-vis Richmond, Williamsburg, New York, and Boston, if you will. There was nothing of this magnitude here before. So they went, organized themselves, all put some money together, went to London, hired an architect, and told the architect, "I want us to build us this magnificent brownstone." But in those days, in the 18th century, you would put your business where the business was. And the harbor was a stone throw away, literally across the street. So all the ships that would come from Europe, the traditional way would be London, Seville, Spain, Madeira, West Indies, to bring some enslaved people over, unfortunately, and a lot of the foodstuffs and a lot of beverages.
The tavern was an important place to many of the famous characters in America's most notable chapter.
Why it was so important of a place is because so many firsts happened. Like George Washington, his room is upstairs where he ate all the time. And anybody would come in, like Van Steuben or Lafayette or people. Matter of fact, John Adams and George Washington met each other for the first time right here. Think about it, right in this way where we are sitting right now.
The original tavern was partially destroyed by a fire in 1832 and then completely demolished in 1854. But it was so important to the country that the Department of the Interior rebuilt the tavern for America's bicentennial in 1976.
The reproduction here, the Department of Interior did a fantastic job. It's exactly the same. It's 6 inches off its normal footprint and has a few modern conveniences built into it. But everything else you see is exactly the way it was. Short of not eating family style. We have a menu, but our food reflects the era. So, and the beverages,
The result is a tavern that is thoroughly and historically accurate.
This is our long room. As you can see, in today's standards, it's not what we would call a ballroom. However, back then, in 1773, it was the second largest ballroom in British North America, second only to Independence Hall, which was made famous by the signing of the Declaration.
This especially includes the bar area of the tavern, or what would have been known as the dispensary. This is one of the primary reasons the City Tavern is a must-see for anyone interested in the history of our nation's bars. It is most like drinking as they did over 200 years ago.
Maybe even more of a reason to stop in for a drink is this, the period beverages. Everything they serve from their dispensary is directly drawn from the 18th century, including the mixed drinks, in this case a shrub. Also the type of rums used, the wine served, and even the beer they drank.
This is the beer that Washington and many others would make. It's like molasses. Has a real good flavor to it. Now some people really go crazy and like it. It's good to cook with too because of the high level of molasses in it. It caramelizes very well. It's good for marinating. So this is the number one. You notice I even labeled the boards so that when the guests come, we can have a little card that goes along with it that can explain to them so they can read it. The most obviously powerful beer and the most requested beer and loved beer by everybody is the next one, which is inspired by Thomas Jefferson.
We can't end without mentioning the food, which again is period. Every recipe on the menu is researched and written by Chef Walter Staib, a James Beard Foundation nominee and proprietor of the City Tavern. Chef Staib is also a host of his own Emmy Award-winning travel and cooking show, A Taste of History.
The City Tavern in Philadelphia, the most authentic tavern you could possibly drink in anywhere in the United States. From the booze to the beer, this place is a must-see.